Nick, we will start with you. You were at Bulls practice today ahead of the game tonight. What did Derrick say?
Steve, basically what he said is that he's ready to come back. He's only going to come back when he feels like he's mentally and physically ready to go. And right now, he's not ready. And my argument to anyone who has attacked Derrick is it's his body. It's his choice. His teammates have been behind him. I think that Derrick, in his own mind, has made the decision not to play this year. And he just doesn't want to let everybody down and say that it's over. But I know there's some frustration, definitely from the organization and from the fan base, to people that want to see Derrick either come out and play or announce that he's not going to play at all this season. And right now, I think everybody's just in a holding pattern as he continues to say there's still a chance that he may come back in this series.
Sam, what's your take on the fact that Rose still hasn't said one way or the other whether he'll come back or not?
It's certainly appropriate, in my view, to not say anything, because it's always possible. I mean, when you make a unilateral decision, you can change. You can decide to play if he feels right. I mean, to me, I'm shocked by this reaction. And this is a witch hunt. I've never seen in all these years anybody who has this kid had serious reconstructive knee surgery less than a year ago. The prognosis from the doctor was he wouldn't be fully healthy and ready to play 12 to 18 months. He could give it a try, 8 to 12 months, if things worked out right. But he's not physically ready. I don't understand why he's being questioned to the level he's being questioned. He's not ready to play. He's not physically or mentally ready. And any top athlete will tell you. And Luol Deng went through this in 2009. He was cleared to play. He had a stress fracture, but he was cleared to try it, which is different than cleared to play. Cleared to try it. He couldn't try it. He missed that great series with Boston, with all the overtime games. He ends up, it was a broken leg, and he's come back and since been a two-time All-Star. And I think Derrick's seen that, and that's what he hears from his teammates. And I think they're all shocked about the reaction.
Sam, we've seen Derrick dunking pregame. He's been said that he's practicing 5-on-5 and has looked good. What do you mean by witch hunt?
Well, because they don't practice, they don't scrimmage. They rarely ever scrimmage. So he's never, he's playing Vladimir Radmanovic in practice. Deng has been injured. Noah's been injured. Gibson's been injured. Who's he practicing against? Plus, Thibodeau doesn't scrimmage. I mean, it's a little unusual among NBA teams, but, he's a great coach, and his method does work. He saves his legs. He plays his guys a lot during games, but he doesn't do much scrimmaging. They've never scrimmaged much the whole time he's been here for 3 years. So Derrick has not had any high level of workouts yet. And so, Blake Griffin, what I mean by witch hunt is Blake Griffin missed a season 2 years ago or 3 years ago, a full season. Nobody ever said anything. Why is he not playing? I mean, Larry Bird's missed seasons. Why? Here's a kid who, from day one in the league, played through injuries, took incredible falls, bruising shots all the time, always came back and played. If he had a history of not playing, that'd be one thing. But he's never demonstrated a lack of competitiveness one day he's ever played. Why is this kid being questioned among everybody else?
I think part of the issue is the fact that he's leaving that hope open, the fact that he won't cancel his season yet. He says, maybe I'll still play. We're going to bring in John Yurkovich, ESPN Chicago radio host. And Yurko, what's the feeling in Chicago about this?
Well, yeah, Derrick gets a lot of support because people love Derrick Rose, and he did play high school basketball here. So he gets a lot of support, and when Derrick comes back, he'll come back. There's also a large faction of people, and I listened to Sam Smith talk about it, 12 to 18 months. I had an ACL injury 20-some-odd years ago, and they expected you to be back and playing somewhere between 8 and 12 months. That's not thinking about playing. Contemplating maybe if I feel good, I might want to get out there. It's actually being on the court or on the field, competing in what you do. So I don't think there's any new protocol that takes longer to get back out on the field. If you ask any medical professional, and they're the ones that are out there, the orthopedic surgeons, they would tell you that there's a window that a player should be back in competition. That window is 8 to 12 months. We're 6 days away from celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the surgery of Derrick Rose. Iman Shumpert got hurt the same day that Derrick Rose got hurt. Okay, you've had Ricky Rubio got hurt before that. These guys have been able to come back in that time frame. There's nothing physical holding back Derrick Rose from playing basketball right now. It's in his mind. And the mind is very powerful. And when the mind says, I don't want to play until next year, then that's what the mind wants to do. Physically, he's fine. Physically, the process should have started 3 months ago of him starting to get a little time in the game. But because Derrick Rose is a superstar, they've kind of placated to him, and that's why he's not on the court. That's why he's not ready to take on the Miami Heat. You get all the excuses in the world you want out there, but you've got medical professionals out there scratching their heads as to why Derrick Rose is not back. And the only reason he's not back is because he's afraid, and that's natural. Most guys, when they have ACL injuries, are afraid to get back on the court. This guy's afraid, and he's got to get over that fear. Even the mama bird pushes the baby bird out of the nest to get the bird to fly. Somebody needs to push him back on the court and say, play.
Sam, what's your response to that?
Well, that's ridiculous, of course. You know, how come other people with testicular cancer didn't ride in the Tour de France? I mean, everybody heals differently. He's not a doctor. I know he hasn't examined Derrick Rose's knee. You know, we know, I mean, it's many years ago. Yurkovich talked about his own injury, you know, a couple of decades ago. Everybody in Chicago knows the story of Gale Sayers, who had an ACL. Now, it was a long time ago, 40 years ago or something, but he had an ACL and he came back too soon, and his career essentially was over. And the guy who was going to be the best running back in the history of football became another guy. We've seen this. Gilbert Arenas is a prime example of this. Came back too soon with that injury, and now he's playing in China. You know, and so you know, there's a risk to ruining a guy's career if he comes back too soon. That's one part. And the other part is I don't believe he is physically stable yet to play. And who would know that but Derrick Rose? And if Derrick Rose is telling you he's not ready to play, that's all that matters. And anybody who has played sports, what Yurkovich has, should understand that you trust the athlete and how the athlete feels, and you never push an athlete to play beyond whether he's ready.
Here's the thing. The Chicago Bulls team doctors cleared him to play. So physically, they said you can go out there and play. Derrick Rose says, I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not confident in that. Nick, let's go back to you. How do you think the Bulls have handled this situation?
I think the Bulls, for the most part, Steve, have handled it great. His teammates have been behind him the whole time because they know if the shoe were on the other foot, they would want the support that the Bulls have shown Derrick. The only issue I've had with the Bulls throughout this entire situation is I think there should have been more transparency between the Bulls organization and between Derrick's inner circle, because Derrick spoke on October 1st at Media Day and said it's 8 to 12 months and I'm still making my way back. Then Derrick Rose did not speak again until a USA Today interview 4.5 months later. And I think the Bulls would have been better served by getting him out in the public and his inner circle by helping push him out in the public a little more once a month or so and saying, this is where I'm at. I may still sit out the whole year. We don't know. But other than that, his teammates and the organization have been completely behind him, and I think that's been key as he continues his recovery.
Sam, when somebody says you're medically cleared to play and then you don't play, as a fan, as a layman, you're thinking, all right, well why isn't he playing? Physically, they say he is. Now, I know your response to that is, well, only Derrick knows, and he is the only one that could say that he's ready to play. So you say he's not physically ready to play. But do you think the Bulls were wrong in coming out with that information that he is cleared to go?
Well, first of all, they haven't come out. I haven't seen that anywhere. So,
well, ESPNChicago.com printed that. Nick, that's correct, right?
Did they quote a doctor or the Bulls saying that? I don't think so.
Nick, what was your source in that situation, Nick?
It was a team source, Sam, and I think it was somebody who at least wanted to get out there that from their end they feel comfortable with Derrick back playing, and they want him out there. They don't want to rush him, but it was noted that he still didn't feel comfortable jumping off his leg and dunking, but it was absolutely somebody from within the organization, and it was Missy Isaacson who did the report.
All right, so let me mention that says you don't have a doctor saying that. So I haven't said a doctor saying that, but you know beyond that, and I have heard Thibodeau say this regarding that, you know, the usage of the words and that circumstance. He said Derrick has been cleared to practice, And if Derrick is then beyond that, then I heard Thibodeau say, then we all have to get together, myself and Gar, meaning the general manager, and Jerry, meaning the managing partner and the owner, and the doctors, and then talk about it further. So what I have heard from Thibodeau in these media sessions is, yes, he's cleared to be in these scrimmages, but he's not exactly cleared to be in the game. And if there's a time when he's ready to play in the game, then we'll all get together and we'll talk about it. So I think that's technically where it's exactly at.
Well, we also have seen him dunk now, so apparently his leg is good enough to dunk off of both legs. Jurko, let's go back to you. Joakim Noah playing through an injury. Nate Robinson throwing up on the sideline. You've got Kirk Heinrich, Luol Deng battling injuries as well, but wanting to get back on the court. How does that affect the perception of Derrick Rose?
Well, obviously these guys are gamers. They want to get it done. They're healthy enough to get out there and to play. Remember, they were playing, then they got beat up a little bit, but they know that you've got to be able to play through aches and pains. It's part of being a professional athlete. So obviously it reflects poorly on Derrick Rose because these guys are doing everything they can to be on the court. I think it's also a little bit unfair to Derrick Rose because Derrick Rose is still trying to get over that mental hurdle that is to get back onto the court from a serious knee injury. So though I think the comparison sometimes is fair, and look what all these teammates are trying to do to get back on the court, I think it's a little bit unfair because he is recovering from major knee surgery. But back to Sam's point about Gale Sayers, listen, 50 years ago, you used to have to climb a telephone pole to make a telephone call. Okay? You don't have to do it anymore. It's in your pocket. Medicine has improved since Gale Sayers had ACL surgery 50 years ago. Medicine has improved 25 years ago when I had my ACL surgery and still was back between 8 to 10 months. And medicine has definitely improved. And ACL reconstructions and the protocol that you should be back within a reasonable period of time, they know, doctors know from many, many thousands of surgeries when an athlete should be able to come back, especially an elite athlete who needs to get back to an elite level. Okay, they know that. But what's being created now is the new DRP, the Derrick Rose protocol, where all of a sudden now it's 12 to 18 months being dictated by one person and one person only, and that's Derrick Rose. Anybody in the medical community would scratch their heads. And no, I'm not a doctor, Sam. Thank you for pointing that out. All I am is a meathead on radio, and I love it. But any medical professional will tell you that, hey, the only thing holding Derrick Rose back right now is nothing physically, and it's all mental. And the mind is a very powerful thing, Sammy.